Well, hello, hello, hello. Tonight is going to be an eye opening evening because I am excited to be here with my girl. She is a certified life and relationship coach. She is a beautiful wife. She about to teach y'all some stuff. All I'm saying is, first of all, if you are weak at heart or if your feelings get hurt fast, then you probably should stay in the room. Y'all thought I was gonna say leave the room, but you probably should stay in the room because Miss Jill is about to snatch her edges. Because you see she fly, you see her edges are snatched. Now she about to get y'all all the way together. So welcome, Jill. How are you?
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm excited to be here. I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
That's good. Introduce yourself. Tell people a little bit about you.
Sure. So as Trey was saying, I'm married. I've been married going on 10 years in November. And I've been doing a lot of transformation work personally and also for other women. That's the space that I have lived in for over the last decade. And I am spiritual based. I believe in spiritual principles actually govern success in our lives. So whether you are a devout Christian or you don't even believe in God, I do what I know for sure is that spiritual principles work, right? So you will hear me say some things from a spiritual, biblical perspective. And again, not trying to push anything on you, but they're going to work. If you apply the principles in your life, in your marriage, they will work. And I would love to share some of those things with you, but also from a psychological perspective, because it's just not about praying. So you ain't gonna hear me just say, oh, pray about it. I'm not that type of Christian, I'm not that type of coach. We're going to talk about some practical things. We're going to talk about some mindset things. So that's been my area of specialty. My whole ministry was birthed off of Romans 12:1 and 2, which talking about do not be conformed to the patterns of this world. And we do have to be mindful of that because there's so many things that's happening in this world that we can be tempted by, but we have to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. And in what we're going to talk about tonight, and I'm excited about the conversation, is that there is truly an attack on marriages right now. And sometimes that attack begins and can end in our mind because that's really where a lot of things are happening. And as wives, we have to make sure that our mind posture is in the right position and we carry the right perspective and we don't allow ourselves to be overtaken by ants, automatic negative thoughts that can derail us and can destroy our marriage. So we don't get into it. So just kind of trying to give you a little bit about me, but I'm kind of going into coaching already. I am a wife. Me and my husband are a guardian to my 11-year-old nephew, Caden, who's a really great kid. Like I said, I've been doing this for a minute. And I love doing this work. And I'm excited to talk with you guys and to answer any questions that you have. And I also will be bringing in some of my own experiences because I've learned, especially being a woman in ministry, being a boss chick, all those things, that it costs something. And we're going
Mm.
to talk about what that costs and how you might have to repay for those costs.
Woo!
Shift from that perspective because it's a different energy when we in boss mode and wife mode. They are not the same.
Oh, don't start.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Give me a minute to digest that before you start stepping on folks' toes. It's gonna cost you something. So me and you were online and I've been following you for years and years, you and your sister. I've been following y'all for years and I have watched the success of your marriage. I have watched you grow literally in front of my eyes. And I've watched you be so transparent about things, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So this is why I wanted us to have this conversation because I've been posting things from data driven information from men. And I don't think that the women are hearing me. Like, this is data driven information that I'm sharing from men who I've interviewed, research I've done, and men that I've coached. And this is the data that I've collected that all of them have these common things, these same problems at home, right? And none of them are perfect. And they're saying, I know I got stuff to grow, but my wife does not listen to me. My wife does not sleep with me. I haven't had sex in a month. I haven't had sex in a year. And when I'm coming and I'm saying side chicks are winning because wives are not showing up, and I hear wives come on and jump on and say, I'm not competing for no man. And I hear wives say, oh, if he gonna leave, he gonna leave. I just want you to speak a little bit to that because how dare you? One, nobody's telling you to compete with another woman. I'm holding you accountable for your part in the relationship and the things that you're supposed to be doing as a wife, right? I'm not telling you to compete with another woman because you can't compete where you don't compare. So if you're doing what you're supposed to do in your house, there's no competition out in the streets, right? So the wives, I'm not competing for no man. So I want you to talk to the wives from the dynamic of actually even saying that out of your mouth that you ain't that he can go. The shenanigans that I'm hearing, I would not want that to be my wife to say, oh, she can have him. So just talk a little bit to the wives from that standpoint.
Wow, so much to say on that. One thing, that just came to me last week was because part of what I do, I have this program called Ready for Love. And so single women oftentimes are willing to spend so much time and energy, so much money. And even likewise with myself, I did coaching even before I got married, single coaching and all the things. And it never ceases to amaze me how much time and energy we as women and even men are willing to put in getting ready and trying to find the one or trying to be found, but we don't want to put in that same energy to stay married.
Oh, all right, bye, y'all.
People listen, we want to drop hundreds, thousands of dollars. The last time I did my program was at $1,500, which is actually on the low end. There's programs out there, $5,000-$10,000 that help women to find love and all the things. And people gladly pay it. People gladly pay $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 to have a wedding, but you don't want to spend that same type of investment, whether it's financial, energy, or whatever, to stay married. And so what we have to realize when it comes to, when it comes to relationships, a lot of times we get infatuated with this eros type of love, which is, it's easy to get married. It's easy to fall in love. Those first 2 years, oh, baby, love you. And, we all infatuated one another. You having great sex and all the things. But what happens over time, we get so familiar with each other. We get so comfortable with each other, and we get so busy bossing up.
Oh,
right? And I ain't gonna tell you nothing I don't know. Because listen, my name is Joe Bullock. I'm a recovering workaholic.
oh,
right? It is all up and through my DNA. Until this day, I have to manage that boss chick. I have to manage that drive, that A-type personality that wants to go, be, do, because I still, while I'm doing all of that grinding, my husband still has needs that has to be met.
Wait, well, hold up.
Mm-hmm.
Because I need the wives to hear you on this major point where they mad at me because I'm saying, you're falling short of the mark, honey.
Mm-hmm.
It's the kids, it's your mother, it's your sorority, it's your church, and you're putting your husband on the back burner. This is a wife speaking now because they want to come for me like, oh, are you married? No, I'm collecting data from your husband. I'm collecting data from your boyfriend. I'm collecting data from your man. This is from a wife saying, I am a boss chick. I got a whole lot of businesses going on, but I have to maintain my marriage with my husband because these women got this, and these are the women I'm talking about, these chicks. And when I say chicks, I mean immature women because they like little chicks.
Mm-hmm.
Chicks out here talking about it's not my responsibility to make my husband happy. So I had to reword it and say, it's your responsibility to make him want to stay.
Mm-hmm.
So go on, girl.
Absolutely. And what I want to say, because I've been following you for a long time and I love your platform, and it is so needed. It is so needed. And I want people to be reminded that we're hearing from, because I'm not excluded, right? We're hearing from a former side chick who's saying, listen, yeah, I did what I did. It is what it is. But let me help you not to be a victim of the people that's where I was, that
Right.
I now come out of. But I'm trying to help you shield and protect your assets.
Come on.
Your marriage.
Come on.
Your future, your children's future. So you don't have to experience the same pain that I've been in. So, I mean, if we can't respect that, I don't know what we can respect. So I appreciate you and the work that you're doing. So important.
Thank you. So again, the wife has to, because again, I'm doing this speaking from the perspective of the male perspective, from data I collected, that there are hundreds of thousands of men whose wives are not sleeping with them.
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem. Men need sex. Like men need sex like we need love. Men need sex like they need sex. It's part of their DNA. So what do you say to the wives? Listen, and people are like, I'm surprised to hear that. There are a lot of wives that are not sleeping with their husbands on a regular basis, right? And they don't expect him to have a side chick. They expect him to be monogamous. And I said this too, Jill, and I want you to touch on this. They expect him to be monogamous and they don't want him to leave them. And I said, if you expect your husband to be monogamous, you are obligated to give him sex. And they went crazy. I'm not obligated to do nothing.
Oh,
So
yeah, you are.
can you rephrase that or touch on it as a wife and a boss and a certified life and relationship coach and a married woman?
Yes, and I want to come back to the competing part too as well.
Okay.
So we absolutely are obligated to fulfill our husband's sexual needs. And I also want to dispel a lie that men don't have emotional needs.
Come
They
on.
absolutely do. And it's not just sex. Sex is really important, but you want to make sure that you're sexually and emotionally and physically connecting. And when I say physically, I'm talking about non-sexual touching,
Mm,
right? The good old holding hands, the good old rubbing his back, the good old rubbing his, touching his legs, all the things. You want to make sure that you're connecting, because what happens is, and again, I tell you what I know. What happens is, as we're bossing up and doing all the things and we're being overly busy, and we'll get to that too, because I'm gonna give you a couple of tips that we can do to slow down. And so you don't feel overwhelmed. You're not drained from doing all the things, and you have the time and energy to show up for your husband. Because what happens is, you're out doing all these things. He's out doing his thing as well. And not saying necessarily being with somebody else, but what happens is we miss the cues of each other. You're missing the cues that he needs you emotionally when he's telling you, hey, babe, put down the phone, put down the phone, put down the phone. He's telling you, we're supposed to be meeting at this time. You coming in 10, 20, 30 minutes late. Guilty, one hands up, two hands up. I would stand up, but I would be out the frame of this camera. And so we have to pay attention. And a lot of times, husbands ain't gonna tell us 85 may 11 times. They're gonna tell us maybe one time, two times, three times, and they're gonna be over it.
mm.
They're gonna be tired of talking. They're gonna be tired of asking. Now they feel like they're nagging you and they're bothering you and all these things. And so you do have a responsibility. And you said, and I respect what you're saying, Trey, in terms of we don't have to compete if we're doing what we're supposed to do at home. However, there right now, this is the hardest time in history for wives in marriage.
Right.
Why do you say that? Because right now, I mean, men are exposed to not just the community of women in which they live,
Come on.
not even the state, not even they are exposed to all women throughout the world.
Yes.
And women are just one click away.
One click away.
All day, every day.
Oh.
And so, and with Instagram, there's so many fitness gurus who do nothing. I'm not gonna say nothing, but a big part of their platform is showing off their tail, their thighs, their breasts, and very sexually appealing type of things. And so if we will be foolish to think that we can run around looking like a chicken head. We could be foolish to think that we don't need to keep ourselves at the par, because the truth of the matter is, and Steve Harvey said this, and I respect a lot of things he said. I don't agree with everything he said, but I respect some of the things he said. And one of the things he always says is that a man chooses a woman based on the finest woman he can get at the time of that, in that moment.
Right.
And so understand, big part of your selection, at least the prequels, were based on your appearance.
Come
Yes?
on now.
And so we got to maintain and constantly be reinventing ourselves to make sure we keep that level of attractiveness there. But don't be fooled. Attractiveness doesn't end and begin with looks. That's a starting point. But also, how are we emotionally? This is where a lot of times women lose it. Again, I've been guilty, and I feel like I've come a long way with my emotional intelligence. However, us raising our voice, getting, like I heard you saying, talking crazy to your husband. We should never. I posted a video the other day. The young lady said, I love what she said. She says, I never correct my husband. I started taking notes. I said, hold on, never?
Never.
I can be like, I don't correct him in front of other people.
Yes.
She said, I never correct my husband. She says, I love and respect him so much. I offer him my perspective.
Yes.
And I trust that he will put my perspective in high consideration in the decisions he makes. That's the mindset we have to have. We are so, because of the rise of the single mom, and I respect and love all single moms. I have 3 older sisters. They all at some point, and some still are, single moms. So I have a lot of respect for single moms. And in that, sometimes it requires us to get into so much masculine energy, aka bossing up, that we are so used to making decisions, doing everything. And so when we do that, we kind of can overpower our husbands and don't leave him the space to lead, decide, and do what he do. And sometimes our men don't feel like they're needed. And so that also can turn it off. And let me say this, if you, being the boss that you are neglecting his needs, at some point he's going to find another outlet to get those needs met. It may be masturbation, pornography, another woman, or it may just be, you know, this lady don't love me. She says she loves me. She says she's about me, but she don't even have the time of day. I've been begging her for the last however long to have sex with me and just do the basic necessities of marriage, and she's not showing up. So let me say this, from this day forward, women, we need to pledge that we would never deny our husbands a sex. That's rejection in the first degree.
Oh, wait, say that one more time.
That is rejection in the first degree. And just as women don't like to experience rejection, men don't either. And so we know, let me give y'all some tips, because a big part of what I do in the personal development space is help people with time management. Why is that important? Because you got to have that time and energy. Come on, life is not made up of energy and experiences.
Yes.
And you got to have energy to give energy. And come on, sex takes what? Energy. Let's just be honest. It takes energy, but you cannot give what you do not have. So 3 things I'm going to tell you this really quick. Hopefully you're taking notes. This is practical stuff that you need to do to find more energy. First of all, you need to start delegating. Stop trying to do everything yourself. It is foolishness. It's not wise to think that if something's going to get done right, I got to do it myself. The devil is a whole lie. You got all them churn, as we would say in South Carolina, up in your house, aka children. And for those who don't know, you need to be delegating them. They need to be helping you cook during the week. They need to be doing their own laundry. You don't need to be doing everything and acting like Molly the maid. And sometimes, as much as you guys are up on Amazon.com, you could be hiring a maid to do the cleaning for your house. And so then now you got the energy to give your man some booty. Okay.
Hold on. She said some of y'all are up on Amazon.com with your cart full instead of paying somebody to come clean your house. So you have the energy to give your man some booty. Just in case y'all didn't hear that.
Absolutely. And this is, I mean, sometimes we can take it and be like, well, what does it have to do with it? But this stuff is real. You know, I don't know how many years now, 2, 3 years now, we've had a lady that come help us. She comes and cleans the house. The whole house spends like 6 hours cleaning the whole house. And so now that's 6 hours I can be working in my business. That's 6 hours me and my husband could go out and do something. I ain't got the time and energy to be slaving in this house, honey. No, ma'am. Mm-mm.
Yes.
No, ma'am.
I hope
so
you
delegate.
Yes, I
delay some things. Oh, go ahead, Trey.
I just want to tell them, make sure you're taking notes, because wives, I'm trying to tell you that we are in a state of emergency for marriages. I mean, we are like in a state of emergency when we have TV shows coming on called The Side Chicks of Charlotte. When we have a TV show where they are right now casting for the Side Chicks of Los Angeles. Like, this is real stuff. When the side chicks have come out in front of the camera, you could talk about you ain't competing for no man. You could talk about she can have him and all that other good stuff. But the real situation going on here is your man should not have to go outside of his home for anything spiritually, mentally, emotionally, or any of those things. You should be willing. And this is the problem that I'm having, Jill, with the wives. The men who I have talked to said their wives are capable, but not willing. They got the ring. They got the commitment. And now all of a sudden, I ain't got to do shit for you. I'm sorry, excuse me, but this is the attitude of the women in the house. And when somebody says, you know what, you got to do this or that, I don't have to do this. And then when you, and this is what kills me too, Jill. I could say a million things on social media. I could post a million things, but the only way to get the wife's attention is to say side chick. And they all on that like a fly on Dookie. Like, oh my God, side chicks, when they feel justified for not doing what they're supposed to do, and they could blame somebody instead of being accountable for the breakdown in their relationship, they want to attack the side chick. They want to attack the husband. And my question to those wives is, what about you? Sorry, go ahead, Jill.
No, you good. Because when you're thinking about that, it's like if somebody has come into the marriage, it's because a door was left open.
Oops.
So we got to figure out who didn't man the door.
Oh.
Who left the door unmanned? who left the need unmet, and not to blame, not to blame.
Right.
Let me say this, you know, if you're somebody that's dealing with infidelity, you're dealing with a side chick right now, listen to what I'm saying. I know it may be hard to accept this, but infidelity is not the end of the world. It
Exactly.
is not. And your marriage can be repaired. And the truth of the matter is, if you're like, he can go or whatever the case may be, baby, divorce won't solve anything. Because if you end up in divorce, my sister was just, we were talking about this today. She was saying that Clever Dollar, and I'm hit and miss with Clever. I'm not, he is who he is, but sometimes he got some good gems. And can I just recycle one of his gems?
Yes.
Okay, let's do that. So
Yes.
he said that, you know, divorce is really an act of selfishness when you're saying, I'm putting I before we.
Mm.
And so what you have to do instead is figure out, where did we break down?
Mm.
Where were the doors left open, and what do we need to do to repair that? And this is one place where we, as women who like to put in all the energy and do all the work, we can do work on ourselves, heal ourselves, and start to take a hard look at, okay, if my husband is distant, if I'm not feeling like I want to have sex with my husband, or he's not coming on to me, because sometimes men just kind of want to get to the business, and sometimes women struggle with that, not feeling like, hey, well, I'm not feeling I feel like it's just so physical that I'm, you know what I mean? They may be, all the romance and foreplay may be missing, but you can groom him, for the lack of a better word. You can show him what you want and kind of slow him down with that, and try to rebuild that division that's been there. But that's when I said earlier, it's going to cost something. So if we go into this mode, work, 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 do, neglect, tending to the children, which in marriage, the children should never be before the marriage union.
Oh.
They're a byproduct of it,
Oh.
but they don't come above it.
Oh, hold on. Just one more. Say that just one more time.
Your children, and I don't care if you got children before, after, in between with your husband, your children should never come before your spouse. That I ain't even gonna go there with this. Just know that that's not the order. That is not the order. The children are a byproduct. And so we need to put the kids in their proper place and not put the kids above the husband. And so again, let me go to my time finish. Delegate. You need to deny some things. Some things your plate is overflowing. We don't need your plate overflowing. We need the cup, which is your spirit, which is your heart, which is your love, needs to be overflowing. Your plate and task list doesn't need to be overflowing. So some things you need to deny. Some of you have to learn the powerful word no. I can't, not right now. I have too much on my plate. You need to make sure you're leaving the time, energy, and capacity to tend to that man that God has blessed you with. Okay, so deny, delegate. Well, I didn't say deny. So delegate, delay, and deny. So some tasks you have to deny, and some things you needed to delay. You know, I had right before the pandemic hit, I took this class, like to be a small group teacher. And after I took the class, small group teacher, they was like, when do you want to start a small group? I'm like, actually, now I can't. I can't do it. I don't have the capacity. I don't have the time. My calendar is saying all no straight down. So I told them I could not. And now I'm saying, okay, when will be the season for me to do that? You know, you talked about sororities. I remember this one year sorority wanted me to join. I had to delay it. I did, and eventually joined. But even with that, sometimes they'd be like, can you? I'd be like, can I what? You serving? Not this year. Can't do it. Yeah, I'll let you know when I can, but I'll help support financially, or I can help somebody else with whatever thing. But you got to know your limitations. We're so used to overextending ourselves. And what the point I want to bring home, and I know it's such a big feminist movement, everybody talking about feminine energy and everything, but it's a real thing, because really when we talk about the feminine and masculine energy, what we're really saying is you're talking about role definement. And we got to really understand our role in the marriage. And our role as wives is to love, honor, and cherish, which also includes submitting to the things he wants. Like, you should never be in a place, I believe, I don't like to, hey, I know I'm a Christian and I'm holy, right? But at the same time, I keep it 100. I be like, I don't want my husband going out hungry sexually. I'm not, you ain't gonna be out here starving talking about how I look. Like, no. So, but that starvation, don't confuse, even for those who are, like, with me and my husband haven't said, but are you emotionally connected? Are you mentally connected? Are you spending the time and energy to ask him, babe, sincerely, how was your day? Celebrate his accomplishments. Let him know that you recognize him. Let him know you see him and hear him. You should never in your life, and come on, so many people need to declare this with me. Never no more will I disrespect my husband. Never no more will I raise my voice at my husband. Never no more will I correct my husband. Never no more will I neglect my husband. Right?
Wait, let me just say this. We have a comment over here. I just want to
go for it, because I'll go.
It sounds like you saying if he cheats, it's the wife's fault. Why not work on it instead of cheating? Let me say one thing, and then I'm gonna let you address her too. Nobody's saying ever that a man going out to stick his penis in another woman is ever a wife's fault. Nobody's saying that. It is never. Let's just make this the disclaimer. We're not gonna say this ever again, because common sense is not so common with people. So I love common sense says it is the man's responsibility if he sticks his penis in another woman. That is his choice. He chose to do that. However, we're talking about it is a symptom. Cheating, having a side chick, is a symptom of a bigger problem that is being unaddressed in the home. And a lot of times we're talking from the perspective of data that we have collected from men, that I have collected from men. And a lot of times it is a symptom of a bigger problem that a wife is not willing. And I'm saying wife to you wives, a wife is not willing to correct. So the symptom is her husband had to go out and sleep with another, made a bad choice to go out and sleep with another woman. The symptom is another side chick. It doesn't have to be a woman. The symptom is he's in the bathroom jacking off the porn. The symptom is he's out drinking all night until he passes out, because when he lays next to you, you go all the way to the other side of the bed and you reject him and make him feel another way. So we are not blaming a woman for a man cheating. We are holding wives accountable for their part in the breakdown of the relationship. And what I've learned in these social experiments that I've been doing on social media, as far as flipping memes, Jill, that women are hallelujah and amening and oh my God, yes, say it, sister. When I flip it from a male perspective, they mad. How you gonna say happiness is a woman's job? Because I just took this meme off of a woman's page that said it's the man's job to make her happy and she'll do anything for him. And it was 25,000 likes. Now I flip it and put he where she was, and now you're telling me it's not your responsibility. What I've learned with these social experiments is just what the men have been saying. Wives don't want to be accountable for what they're not doing. They're hypocrites. They have double standards. So this woman says we're blaming, what it sounds like is you're blaming women for a man cheating.
Absolutely not. And I love, you said it perfectly. You said it perfectly. As we were saying, what we are saying, however, is when there's a breakdown in the marriage, I don't know why. I wish I can explain it. I can't. But what the trends are showing is that for some reason, men is, I hate to say easier, they struggle to articulate when their emotional needs are not being met. They may not even know and recognize that is what it is. They just know they don't maybe like the way that they feel when they interact with you. And sometimes it can be resentment and things build up from 6 months ago, a year ago, 6 years ago. That this wall sometimes builds up, and you may not recognize that it's been building, but you recognize when he starts to get distant. So again, that's another symptom that something is wrong and something is missing. And so, at that point, you need to look at it. And then what I will say, time is not on your side, and that you need to act as if in a state of emergency. No, I don't want you panicking. I don't want you having an anxiety attack. Okay. We're not doing none of that. But what we want you to do is, like Trey's saying, take a look at what you're doing and not doing that can be contributing, and take ownership of your role and say, can I do more? Because listen, I don't know about y'all. I know I got at least one person under the sound of my voice who is very competitive, right? Yeah. I used to run track and field. Competition motivates me, hon. So maybe perhaps, whether it's true or not, you need to think about somebody else is coming for your man. And if they were, if you knew that somebody was giving your man foot rubs, giving your man back rubs, and all the things, and you're not, what's wrong with that?
Oh,
and like you said, he's giving you the ring. That's not, I want to do the series. I'm going to do a series. I'm not going to say the name of the series. I want to do a series. I'm going to talk about I'm gonna say it, breaking the vows.
Mm.
That's my idea. So I'm going to be doing a series on breaking the vows, because what I know for sure is that when we talk about love, honor, and cherish, we really got to think about what that is. People think breaking the vows is having an affair. People think breaking the vows is having a divorce. Okay, maybe, but really the vows are broken before that point. The vows are broken when you are supposed to. The marriage is a biblical idea. It's a God idea. Okay. And what God says is that you should never, not in the exact words, but scripture says that you should never deny your spouse of sex ever in your life. Okay. Unless there's one exception, by mutual consent, when you're giving yourself to prayer and fasting and your husband has agreed.
Yes.
Me personally, most times I do a spiritual fast. I don't do a sexual fast. That's just me. And God is going to still honor that.
Right.
So it's really never a reason why you should not. Now, granted, if you really are feeling bad and you be like, babe, I'm not feeling good right now, can we get together in the morning? Like, you need to give him another appointed time. It's just not all just deny, and no, you need to renegotiate a time.
Right.
When you will commence your roles and responsibilities, your duties as a wife to love, honor, and cherish. There's this book called Love and Respect. I have a love and hate relationship with that book. But the premise of that book talks about that men need respect and women need love, right? And the respect we're talking about in your conversation community, we have to be soft. We have to be gentle. We got to let go of the anger. We got to let go of the aggression. We got to let go of the leading and bossing and directing. Those are not part of our roles. This should be all soft, love, give, nurture, like we do with our kids. We need to start. We're not treating our man like our kids, but come with that same softness, come with that same gentleness, come with that same essence, come with that same level of love. So we have to give our husbands that love and that respect, right, in those forms. And we in turn want his love. Now, why I say I have a love-hate relationship, because the whole premise, the big premise of that book is that men need respect and women need love. And I say they both need both.
Right.
As women, we still need to feel that you respect the woman that we are. You respect the work that we do and all the things about us. You respect us as your wife. And men, they still need love too. They still need those back rubs. They still need those conversations. They still need those words of affirmation of you bullying him out, telling him how fine he is, rubbing his biceps, triceps.
Because the girl at the job is telling him how fine he is, even if he's not listening to her, even if he's not interested. The girl at the job is saying how fine he is, and the girl at the job is sneaking a squeeze on his bicep when she walks by. Good morning, and you're not touching or loving on him. You're not telling him he's handsome. You're not saying anything, but he's encountering women all day long. And if you don't sustain, you are not going to remain in a healthy marriage. And if it's, again, the women are blowing my mind with this, he can have, she can have and stuff. And another thing I want you to touch on, Jill, because we're going to be on for an hour. We'll come back another day. We don't want to take up everybody's time. Another thing I want you to touch on is that a lot of women are excusing themselves and not wanting to be accountable. And they have this mentality of this is really driving me freaking crazy. And I just want you to touch on it as a wife. What about him? Every time I post something, him too. What about him? It goes both ways. I'm trying to teach women that be the best version of yourself, no matter what energy your husband. I'm giving him. I'm matching his energy. First of all, our black men are out here in these streets and they getting dogged every day. So when they come home from work, their energy is not always good. So that me too. What about him? I'm gonna match his energy, attitude, and the fact that when one person in the marriage, and you could touch on this right now, if you're up high and your husband comes in and he's having a low day, we are supposed to make sure that we're the high day when our husband is having a low day and he's the high day. That's why marriages are failing, because when your husband's having a low day and you match his energy, y'all are going to continue to have low days. That's why it's two of you. So the other person can bring the other person up. So talk about matching his energy and him too. What about him? instead of basically just being the best version of yourself at all times. Because women, and this is so true, women do it for everybody else. They're the best version of themselves at work. They're the best version of themselves with their girlfriends. They're the best version of themselves at church. But why you not the best version of yourself at home?
Absolutely. So there's so many things coming to my mind when you say that. One thing I want to say is that as women, we set the temperature for our home.
Ooh, we are the thermostat.
Yes, yes, we are. Yes, we are. And so again, we're not blaming wives because, but what we are saying is every action, this is proven science, every action has an opposite and equal reaction. And so we can either decide to lead into what's not working in the low level and low vibration, or we can get on our Michelle Obama tip, and when they go low, we go high and keep, you know what I'm saying, keep our energy up. You talk about trade that it's so important that we do what we did to get what we got, to keep
Yes.
it, right? So you say, make sure you are and continue to elevate that woman that you were when he met you. Everybody is so willing, again, to put their best foot forward at that point. And I get it. Sometimes you may be getting bad vibes and you may be getting the cold shoulder even. But what I know for sure, there's nothing more attractive than confidence. You know, the other just this weekend, my pastor preached on a message talking about that as women, we shouldn't yearn, and I know this is difficult, wives, but bear with me for a moment. We shouldn't yearn, beg, plead, or anything else for love from a man. And he used the example of Leah and Rachel, right? And how Leah, Leah, because she was light on the eyes. I mean, and she wasn't that beautiful. She could have all the babies, but she didn't have the love from her husband. And so she found herself operating a low vibration to the point she started to finally operate in higher vibration. But the point of me sharing that with you is even if your husband isn't giving you the love that you deserve and desire, the most attractive thing you can do is be confident and love yourself.
Whoa.
He will recognize she's happy. She's still treating me good. She's still doing her thing. She's not allowing my low vibration, my low energy, my negativity, my affair or whatever to bring her down. She knows who she is. And because she has the joy inside of her, because her cup is overflowing, I can't even disrupt that, because you want your cup to be overflowing with all this goodness. And when a man see that, he's going to be attracted to that because they are feeding off our energy. We're the nurturers.
Yes.
We give life literally.
Yes.
Right. And so we need to be giving life to our husband. We need to be the sight and light of the earth in our home and keep it high. Keep it high. Operate in that confidence, operate in that self-love, because listen, however we treat ourselves, and that's even sometimes running ourselves down to the ground because we're so busy doing all the things, however we're treating ourselves, we're setting an example to the world, including our husband, of how others should treat us. So you treat yourself as you want to be treated. And he has no choice but to respect, acknowledge, and conform to that, because that's the standard that you're going to hold.
And let's talk about the wives too that keep saying, when we talk about submit, right? And we'll talk just a little bit about this because this is a touchy subject and me and you are going to have to talk about. But when we talk about the word submit, so many women came on a comment when I said a wife should submit to her husband, right? And this is just for women who desire to be married. You should submit to the man that you're dating, but not to the level of a wife. You should submit to the place of you allowing this man to lead so you can see if he's a leader, like opening the car door, taking the lead to plan the date. This is how we submit when we're dating. I'm not talking about sexually submitting in the home. I'm talking about the dating part to make sure, okay, we moving a little bit forward. I could be able to submit to this man. He's been leading. But women talking about submitting is like, oh, you talking about submit to him. I'm not submitting to him because he don't deserve it. And my question in that instance as a wife is, if you are laying next to a man that you're not willing to submit to because he don't deserve it, why are you with him?
Absolutely. And then you have to take accountability for the man that you appointed as your leader. And submission is respect. Somebody need to type that under the sound of my voice. Submission is respect. And we just said one of the leading things our husband need from us is respect. RESPCT. Tell me what it means. Tell me what it means to me, right? Or whatever the saying is. You know what I'm talking about. So
Yes.
we have submission is not an option. But let me give some relief here on this point. Submission is reciprocal because even in the Word of God, it does talk about we have to submit to one another. So as you're submitting to His leadership, as you're submitting, sometimes we just got to shut our mouths, women. Statistically, we talk 2 to 3 times more than men. We got it. However, sometimes we got to bite our tongue. I know we always talk, don't bite your tongue, be bold. When you're with your husband, that ain't the time. You do that with the woman in the street and all of that with your girlfriends and y'all kikiing and cackling. That's your time to be assertive. That's your time to be bold. That's your time to do all the things. When you're with your husband, you got to learn to kind of, because you may know and you may even know a better way. But when you do that, you're saying, my way is better than yours, or my way is right and your way is wrong. And now you're taking away his power, authority, and leadership. And that's a form of disrespect. And men need to be respected and honored. Trey, you talked about it. A lot of times, and I literally was talking about this today, being the one from the South, men from the South, it's not too many men I know from the South who haven't experienced some level of discrimination or disrespect from whether it's police, leaders, or other people in authority who, because this was a black man and they felt like because they were something else, that they had power and authority and have tried to demasculate our men. So they come in with that, and sometimes they're dealing with that daily at their work. It could be directly or it could be indirectly. And so when they come home, they're wanting to feel like the king that they are. They want that honor. They want that respect. And so we can't go on the days. And I thank God I never been a chick to like just be blatantly disrespectful. I mean, I'm a recovering anger management. I used to have anger issues. And I have my moments when I get a little excited, but still not too much. But still in that, that's not sexy. It's never sexy to raise your voice. It's never sexy to be anything outside of pleasant, joyful, and love. Like
Yeah.
you got to get in control. And if you deal with, how I dealt with this, or even still deal with, because right, you still have to constantly manage your emotions and manage your response. But what I'm telling you is when we operate in anything less than love, what's the word said? Think of the things that's lovely, think of the things that's good report, all the good stuff.
Yes.
Anything negative that we operate in, it hits the kill switch to his desire and attraction, and it creates distance between you. And he then try to figure out, how can I get the respect I deserve? And sometimes, unfortunately, I don't know why men do this. They sometimes think it would be easier for me to stop nagging her or depending or requesting something for her that she is not willing or incapable of providing. And then it kind of defaults on something else. Never your fault, but it could be his response to it.
And
Never a response, but it's the reality in which we live.
that's what I am really trying to get wives, but again, from the data that I collected, I'm just trying to tell wives, go over to TikTok and listen to our brothers speak. They are sharing their truth. But again, the thing that I learned over these last 2 months of being on TikTok, like heavily and connecting with the brothers and sharing the data, is that what they're saying, which is so disturbing to me and it hurts my heart because I'm a woman, is true. We don't listen. We don't want to be accountable for our part in the breakdown of the relationship. Every time somebody says something, women, we're quick to say, what about you? Point the fingers instead of taking that information in and saying, let me think about this because maybe it is me. Because me looking at the comments when I put posts up to talk about women, it's always them pointing outward instead of looking inward. When I'm saying nobody's trying to blame you for anything, I'm saying you read a whole paragraph. And out of all of that paragraph of everything I was saying that the wife can do this, the wife needs to do that, this could make the marriage better. You went to the piece that was good for you to blame the husband, the other woman, the job, anything but you. And that's disturbing to me because just me watching for 2 months showed me exactly what the men were saying was true. And I went into this to share the data, to have the women give the men some hope to say, no, we do listen. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, okay, I am accountable. Oh, that could be me. And they did the total opposite. So we have to fix that, Jill. And where do we begin fixing that?
It's a song back in the day, right? It takes two to make a thing go right.
Yes.
Right? It makes two to make it out of sight. So all those things. So it takes two to make a thing go right. And it takes two to make a thing go wrong. And so
Right.
what am I saying is sometimes we have a breakdown in communication. And we have to acknowledge that. So to let me be direct because I want to make sure I'm addressing your question. What can we do about that? We have to know that I believe that nothing's neutral. I said earlier that every action is equal opposite reaction. So either we're adding to a situation or we're adding from it. If
Mm,
we aren't attending to it, just like a plant, if we don't attend to a plant, I got my plant now. I had to put some water in it today because it's been a week, and my
my,
plant started looking it was looking a little weak. But I took the visual cues of my plant that it needed some
ooh,
nurturing because it wasn't, you know what I mean? It wasn't doing what it do. So we absolutely have to know that there's something that we're doing or not doing, saying or not saying that could be contributing to the situation. Granted, I get it. Some of you on the sound of my voice may be dealing with a husband that's dealing with an addiction, whether pornography, alcohol, or other drugs or things. And you be like, girl, unbeknownst to me, I didn't even know he was doing this. So yes, I get it that you may not be the reason behind that. However, we're going to focus on this thing called locus of control. And there's within the locus of control, there's things that's within your realm of influence, and there's things that's outside of your realm of influence. We're not going to waste energy worrying about the things that's outside of our sphere of influence that we can't control. We have to focus on the things that we can control. So you need to throw. I remember TD Jake said over a decade ago, he was talking about our purpose and talking about our assignment. But I want to talk about this in the context of your marriage. He was talking about. Let me get this analogy real quick. He was talking about his dog was trying to open this like glass sliding door that just push it and it opens. And usually he can just push this with his paw and it open up. Well, he did that one time. It didn't work. The dog went up to the door again and hit his paw on the door. It didn't work. He backed up a little bit and then he pushed about 30% of his weight to that door and it didn't open up. It wasn't until that dog went all the way almost to the other side of the room and threw his whole body to that door that the door finally opened up. And that's how we got to start throwing ourselves towards our marriage, throwing ourselves towards our husband. We need to be throwing 100% of ourselves. Gone are the days of giving the leftovers. Gone are the days of not doing the work. Like we have to be accountable. Do your part. That's the only part you can worry about. Do your part. And I'm going to say, again, it may not be overnight. Don't expect you to do your part one day and it's going to change tomorrow. Some of you are going to do your part for a month and you're going to see a shift. Some of you may have to do your part for 3 months because, like I said, it's going to cost something. So if there's a situation where there's been a breakdown in the marriage and there's some distance, it did not take a week, a month,
come
even
on
a
now.
year to get there. Listen, I learned recently that most couples, and I couldn't even believe the statistic, most couples wait not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, 6 years before they start to say, hey, there's a problem. Hey, we need some help. Hey, things are going awry. Not 1 year, not 2 years, not 3 years, not 4 years, not 5 years, 6 years. So
Yes.
about time you recognize there's an issue, chances are the issue has been brewing for years.
Years. Woo!
So we have to, be like, okay, so if it took us 6 years to get here, can I challenge you to be willing to give all you got for 6 months?
Come on.
Granted, because I believe in the word of God, and because God is like, he's not like man that he shall not lie, and his word will not come to him void. And he says that if you will, he don't say he thinks, he said you will reap a harvest if you faint not. So with that being said, you may have to do 6 months, you may have to do 7 months, you may have to do 8 months, it may even take a year. But what I know for sure is that God is not like man that he shall not lie. And so if he said it, it shall happen. I can't promise you how much time. I don't think it will take 6 years. I think most people's situation can be resolved within 3 to 12 months.
And you
Right.
gotta be one thing the wives have to hear. And we're talking to wives tonight. So don't say what about him? Because y'all drive me crazy with that what about him stuff. I really be wanting to just go off on y'all. This takes consistency. You cannot be nice to that man for a week and think it's going to change his behavior. You cannot be nice to that man for a month. You have to be consistently being the best version of yourself. And again, on my platforms, I love to remove the man from the equation and hold the woman accountable for her part in the breakdown of the relationship. You need not think about him. You need to pay attention and focus on being a good person, period, consistently inside your home, outside your home, in your marriage. It is not based on his behavior. And it's sad that they are not hearing this, that they will debate the fact that, well, he did this and he did that. Your choice to curse him out speaks volumes about who you are, not him. Your choice to withhold sex from your husband because he didn't do what you said or he told you an unspoken truth that you didn't want to hear speaks volumes about you and not him. It shows the level of your immaturity when it comes to being in a relationship in the first place. And you sure should not be in a marriage if you are based on tit-for-tat energy and what about him? Because each and every one of us, me and Jill and every woman around us, should be the best version of ourselves, especially in our homes. Marriage is your first ministry. And we will, again, I'm saying this because it pisses me off that we will be nice to the people at the grocery store and respectful. Thank you, no thank you. We will be nice to the people in the restaurant. We will be nice to our boss. We will be nice to our sorority sisters. We will be nice to our church family. And we will, y'all, I'm not married yet, but I know when I get there, I'm not going to be nice to everybody and go home and treat my husband like crap. But a lot of that is going on right now. You're nice to everybody in the world. And I think Jay Barnett talked about this. He's a black male therapist. And if you don't follow him, follow Jay Barnett. He is a great resource. Jay Barnett said when he was growing up, his father was a pastor and they went to church, and every day their family was the oh my God, the family of families. But when they went home, it was a war zone.
Mm.
And this is what's going on in marriages right now. You're nice to everybody else. And it ticks me off too, because I know you can control yourself from cursing your husband out, because you control yourself every single day from cursing your boss out. And your boss is treating you like crap. But you say, oh, he said something to me and set me off. You can't control yourself unless you're a person. We know there's some people with anger management issues that blast off on we're not talking about them people. I see you, sis, controlling yourself in the supermarket. I see you controlling yourself when you talk to a police officer. I see you controlling yourself in the church when one of the church sisters piss you off. But you can't control yourself with your husband? Come on, Jill.
I love what you said, and I was thinking the exact same thing. I wrote down, we have to be our best selves with everybody, everywhere, pretty much all the time. And no, we're not saying you have to be perfect, but what we are saying is put your best foot forward all the time. Make it a practice, because I believe even if you say you deal with anger issues, really it's just you choosing to respond a certain type of way. And you can choose to respond a different way. For my believers in the room, there's a scripture that talks about, when I was a child, I acted and I thought as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish ways. How many of you know you can put away anger? How many of you know you can put away cussing? You know, you can pray it away or put it away. It's just easier to put it away because you're going, just trust me on that. So it's really about a decision of how you decide to show up. And I get it. There may be certain things or certain ways that you have learned that you have to unlearn. I also want to leave this last thing with you, because I know our time is pretty much up. If you don't take anything from what I'm saying tonight, please take this. You have to practice grace. Grace. Grace is so important in the marriage. You have to extend grace. Extend grace to yourself. Extend grace for the things that you've accepted, for the shortcomings that you've had. Extend grace to your husband. And all these areas is so important, because grace is offering forgiveness to people. Because listen, holding on to things, I don't care if it was yesterday or last year, is pretty much punished. I don't know who I heard say it. It might have been Trey. I don't know who I heard say it, but I love what they said. They said, unforgiveness is punishing yourself what somebody else did to you.
Yep. Yep.
Was that you, Trey? I don't know who said it, but it was good. So it is punishing yourself what somebody else did to you. And so we got to let go. It costs you nothing to forgive. It
Yes.
costs you nothing to share grace, and it makes you feel better. And let me tell you this. Listen, you can't love agape type of love, meaning sacrificial, unconditional love. You cannot give that in absence of grace, because guess what? People are human. People are going to make mistakes. People are going to fall short. People are going to disappoint you. It's going to happen.
Men are going to. Men, Black men, husbands, brothers, nephews. Everybody gets grace. Everybody gets grace but the Black man. And I'm sick of it. Like, everybody gets to make a mistake. Everybody gets to fall on their face. Everybody gets extended grace. Everybody but the Black man. He can't make a mistake. He can't make a bad choice. He can't make a poor decision without being crucified for the decision that he made, instead of wives saying, okay, babe, I understand, what's next? You know what I'm saying? What's next? What we gonna do? How we gonna move forward from this? It's like, I told you so. I knew you shouldn't have did that. And so many men are telling me this, like, I'm scared to make a decision. You know how many men told me, this is for some of the wives to hear. You know how many men told me that they sit in their car and their wife thinks that they're on a phone with somebody else when they're actually having an anxiety attack about going in the house to be around her? That's crazy. Sitting in the car having an anxiety attack. She's accusing him. Why was you sitting in the car? Why was you doing this? And he's just like, I was sitting there because I just needed a minute. While he was actually having an anxiety attack because he got to go in the house with his wife. We got to do better, ladies. And again, this is blame causes guilt. Accountability causes growth. And we're here for you so you can grow with us. Again, I'm going to say that. We're not blaming any woman for a man cheating, for a side chick, for him doing anything. Blame causes guilt. Accountability causes growth. We are holding you accountable for your decisions, for your behavior, for what you say, for what you do, how you handle your man. We are holding you accountable. You cannot say, I cursed him out because he did this, when you're telling him he can't say, I went and slept with another woman because you did that. It's the same thing. You can't say, I'm acting this way because you didn't make money, so I'm acting this way because of you, and then expect it, and then say, you can't blame me for cheating on you, but you're blaming him for cursing him out. You're, first of all, cursing your husband out and emasculating him and talking to him a certain way and yelling and screaming at him is abuse. So I need wives to understand that just because you're not putting your hands on him doesn't mean you're not abusive. So remember that. But again, you can't blame him for your behavior, for your reaction, but his behavior or reaction is to go sleep with another woman or stay out all night or drink all night or not come home at night, even if he's not with another woman, and tell him, you can't blame that on me because the way I acted, because it's a double standard. You're doing that. So, Jill, I'm gonna let you end with some final words, because I think this was.
I don't know if they're gonna like what came to me, but it came to me so strong. I'm gonna share it. But again, understand what we're trying to communicate. What came to me is sometimes, when we first meet, again, we have all this bubbly, all this good energy and all this good chemistry. But over time, he changed. But what came to me is he has become who he is because of who you are. And so if you shift or switch, this one girl has been talking about identity switch, whatever you want to call it, if you switch or step into the new you, the best version of yourself, and become someone else, he will become something else. Because again, we're the thermostat. We're controlling the temperature of our home. And so when you move, I move just like that. He's still leading. But when we're talking about the atmosphere, the energy, the love, the peace, the joy, listen, the block's on lock, the Glocks will stay hot. You know what I'm saying? You need to have that thing locked, cocked, all of that at your home. And let's go from there. And so let's be non-negotiable about how we show up. And I don't want you may have to fake it till you make it, but we want you to get to the place that is authentic and ask God to help you deal with your emotions, help you to respond in a better way. And even let me say this for some of them out there, because some people may say, well, I'm not cursing him, I'm not doing this, but it's still something that's still off. Listen, let me say this. Sometimes too, as women, we could just be demanding our own way. and overpowering because we're so assertive and we have so much masculine energy and so much of that boss chick there. So sometimes you may not be blatantly disrespecting, but however, you could be still overpowering. And so you have to pay attention to cues and making sure you're giving him the space to do and be who he's supposed to be. And sometimes we just gotta back it up, back it up, back it up, and let him have the light, let him have that part, and we gotta just fall back, fall back, fall back. Shine, love, grace, all the things, and be non-negotiable about it. Period. Dot exclamation point.
Yes, Jill, girl, listen here. We need to have these weekly conversations. We got to set something up because this was so rich. And again, we're here because we love marriage. I love marriage. I love family. I love marriage. And I know the devastation of the saga of the side chick. I know the devastation. I know side chicks are around for a reason because if we take that reason away, they are just a symptom. Just like a runny nose is the symptom of a cold, the cold is the problem. There's a problem.
Right,
If you
absolutely.
get to the bottom of the problem of the cold, the runny nose will go away.
Mm-hmm.
So side chicks are in society because, and not all wives, because there is a miss between husband and wives, and we have to cover that. And we have to be accountable as women when we get into relationships and life becomes overwhelming, that we cannot put our man on the back burner ever. We cannot make him feel like he needs to go out of the house for something that should be in the home. We cannot make his home another war zone. We cannot become another situation, another problem. We cannot do these things anymore and then blame him for the decisions that he makes when he feels like he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. And this is by no means excusing men from poor behavior.
Absolutely.
And when I'm talking about men in these situations with wives, I'm talking about women who know you got a decent man at home. I'm not talking, don't come in here talking about what about the guy that's this. We're not talking about them. Y'all know exactly who we talking about. We talk about men who are owning their life, running their businesses, being accountable for their actions, and you have checked out of the marriage. We're just asking you ladies to check back in for your children, for your legacy, for your community, for generations. We are asking you simply to check back in and to not pass the ball or take offense and point fingers at anybody else. And the last thing I'm going to say is we want you to just be the best version of yourselves at all times. And yes, we all have bad days. So we love y'all and thank y'all so much.
Hey, let me say one more thing.
Yes.
I just want to say this really quick, came to me, and I've been thinking about this for the last couple of weeks, is also just be careful because right now there is such a great movement. I'm going to call it toxic woman empowerment, when everybody's telling you, oh, leave, leave, leave. You know, your emotional needs not getting met. It's such a big voice out there that is kind of almost celebrating people leaving their marriage. And I want to say you can leave a toxic marriage without leaving your husband. So you can leave that toxic, unhealthy relationship, that the environment, and I'm not saying even physically leave, you're emotionally leaving, you're spiritually leaving by going somewhere different. And that's somewhere different where that's what we're talking about. You're going to a place of grace, you're going to a place of love, you're going to a place of joy. So don't be careful with that. Don't allow that to get you off course, because you can leave that toxic environment and still stay in your marriage by changing the environment in which you live. That's it. Go ahead, Trey. Close it up. Oh, sorry, I had to get that out.
So good. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. We love y'all. Like, we're going to have more of these conversations because we just want both people to be happy. But again, for women to say, I'm not responsible for his happiness. You're responsible for your happiness, but you're not bringing a happy person into the home. I'm going to leave that with y'all because that went over some of y'all head, and that's okay. That is went right over their head. But again, thank y'all for tuning in. Remember what I tell you at the end of all my broadcasts. You deserve the best. Yes, I'm talking to you. You deserve the best. Now go get it. Peace and blessings. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you, Jill. I love you, sis. You are a wealth of knowledge. Oh, wait a minute. Tell the people where they can find you. We cannot leave without doing that.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks, my love. Definitely an honor. You can find me on social media. My primary is Facebook, YouTube, and IG, all things Jill Bullock, JILLBULLUCK, and we can connect and continue the conversations there.
Love y'all. Y'all know where y'all can find me at Trey Kearney. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, New You Nation Network. New You Nation Network. And remember, I said what I said. We'll see y'all soon. Peace and blessings.